For hundreds of years, these tranquil garden grounds were the center of all political life in Japan. Behind me, successive emperors lived and reigned, all the while their advisors held the real power behind the throne. This is the one and only Kyoto. From temples to tea houses, we're exploring all that the city has to offer as we add another piece to the world peace puzzle. Though evidence of human habitation can be traced back as far as the Paleolithic period, the story of this ancient city really begins in the year 794. After Buddhist clergy in Nara began to interfere with political affairs, the Emperor Kanmu felt the need to distance himself from the clerical establishment. This move would mark the start of the Heian period in Japanese history, with the country's new capital city originally taking on the name Heian-kyo, or City of Peace. However, the 1,000-year capital would not always live up to its aspirational name. Throughout the 15th and 16th centuries, the streets of Kyoto would witness countless bloody battles and atrocities. Specifically during the Onin War, factions of samurai battled in the streets, forcing shop owners and residents to board up their businesses and homes, leaving many areas of the city destroyed. This would spark the beginning of the Sengoku Jidai, or the Warring States period in Japanese history. For years, the once opulent city would be a devastated remnant of its former glory. That is until Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the second great unifier of Japan, began efforts to rehabilitate many areas of the city, creating the grid-like design that remains to this day. As the Tokugawa shogunate ushered in a new time of unity for Japan, a greater shift in the power to the shogun in Edo allowed Kyoto to flourish as the creative capital of the country. Merchants and manufacturers flocked to the bustling city center to take advantage of the high demand for reputable Kyoto goods and textiles. The city was fast becoming not only the crux of inter-province commerce, but also a paradigm of sophistication and culture. A quintessential example of this Kyoto culture comes from the Muromachi period, when the Ashikaga shoguns resided here in Kyoto. In 1397, the Ashikaga shogun Yoshimitsu, a certified aesthete, transformed a private villa on the edges of Kyoto into the marvelous Kinkakuji Temple. Though one is immediately struck by the gold-leafed exterior, there is even more to this temple than meets the eye. Kinkakuji blends three distinct styles of architecture, which act as a mirror of Heian society: nobles, warriors, and monks. The first floor, known as the Chamber of the Dharma Waters, is influenced by the Shinden-zukuri, an earlier Heian-era architectural style developed for the palaces and villas of the elite. Encircled by a veranda, the first floor utilizes plain wood and simple white walls to emphasize the beauty of the surrounding nature. The second floor, known as the Tower of Sound Waves, is rendered in the Bukkei-zukuri style favored by the warrior class. This design focused on the impermanence of the world, a fitting sentiment for the unpredictability of its residents' fates. The temple culminates in the Cupola of the Ultimate. This floor is constructed in a traditional Zen style, heavily influenced by its Chinese origin, a style that reflects the ultimate religious nature of the temple. Inside sit several shrines and statues devoted to various Buddhist deities. The high regard to which these figures are held is reflected in the temple's exterior. The brilliant gold facade is meant to inform the viewer that inside, as outside, lies something awe-inspiring and powerful. This opulence is what gives Kinkakuji its name, the Temple of the Golden Pavilion. In contrast to the overtly lavish display of Kinkakuji, a more subdued presentation of Zen aesthetics can be found only 20 minutes away by foot. This is Rwanji, which translates impressively as the Temple of the Dragon at Peace. Another example of Heian period architecture, before this temple arrived at its current form, the space acted as a villa, hosting various aristocrats visiting from all over the country. Today, what attracts most visitors to the Zen temple is the subtle beauty of its meticulously preserved rock garden. Though there exists much controversy over the precise construction of the garden, at the very least it can be traced back to the 15th century. This style of garden architecture is known as kare sansui, or dry landscape. The stones themselves are meant to represent different features of the natural world. The little pebbles act as still water, while the large stones encircled by moss remind one of islands rising from the sea. Altogether, the landscape is meant to be an example of wabi-sabi, a Japanese aesthetic focusing on the transience and imperfection of life. After a morning of quiet introspection at the temples, it's time to ponder the meaning of life over a nice lunch at this quaint cafe. Boasting tatami mats and a tokonoma alcove, restaurants like this serve traditional cafe fare while providing visitors with a unique dining experience. While it's tempting to stop at more conventional establishments, we think it's better to patronize places like this that showcase their original personality. Next, we're heading further west from the city center to the natural beauty of Arashiyama. On your way, find time to cross over the Tokugetsukyō Bridge. Spanning the Katsura River, this iconic landmark has been part of the city for over 400 years. We were lucky enough to observe the Kanko Festival, which involves carrying multiple mikoshi, portable homes for Shinto gods, from one shrine to another. Between the mikoshi, participants take turns parading these ceremonial poles, topped by a decorative spearhead known as a hoko. Although there are several temples and villas scattered throughout the locale, for many, the main draw to Arashiyama is its peaceful bamboo grove. Long stalks of bamboo tower above you on either side while you progress down the trail. It's fun to imagine oneself as an old Kyoto aristocrat, out for a leisurely stroll on a hot summer day and finding refuge here in the cool shade of the bamboo. Hundreds of years ago, this area was dominated by dozens of bamboo groves. Over time, as the city expanded, they were cut down in favor of residences and shops. In 1967, the government stepped in to protect this grove, citing its cultural and historical importance. While your visit to the grove may be crowded, chances to escape the congestion are only accessible by hiring a rickshaw driver, which can cost upwards of 5,000 yen. Wrapping up our first day in Kyoto, we head back to our hotel for the rest of the night. Kyoto offers a wide variety of lodging for its visitors. From modest street-side hotels to the traditionally lavish ryokan, there is no shortage of choice for those coming to the city. If you're looking for a budget-friendly option, we recommend one of the many capsule hotels located throughout Kyoto. Capsule hotels. A response to growing tourism in Japan in the late 1970s, this form of boarding fits many pod-shaped rooms into a single dormitory. For some, this may seem a bit claustrophobic, but if you're simply looking for a place to rest your head at night, they can be the perfect, reasonably low-cost alternative to more conventional stays. The next day, the first stop on our itinerary is instantly recognizable to many. Fushimi Inari Taisha. Famous for its collection of over 10,000 gates, this shrine has become a pilgrimage site for tourists and locals alike, all seeking to pass beneath the veritable tunnel of Vermilion Torii. The shrine was first established in the 8th century before relocation occurred at the behest of Kukai, the Buddhist monk famous for developing the Shingon sect in Japan. The main shrine we see today was built in the late 15th century. Fushimi Inari Taisha is dedicated to the kami Inari, who among other things is seen as the god of rice, agriculture, and general worldly success. Naturally, those hoping for prosperity in business and life have contributed to the shrine. A torii with their name marks their donation. You'll doubtless feel the presence of dozens of eyes upon you as you progress through the complex. The kitsune, or fox, is a popular motif associated with Inari. In Japanese folklore, foxes are beings with paranormal powers, acting either benevolently or mischievously. It is believed they serve as messengers for the gods, conveying prayers between the mortal and divine realms. We're hoping this one puts in a good word for us. When wandering between the various temples and shrines scattered throughout Kyoto, you'll no doubt run across several food stands luring passers-by to stop for a quick treat. From seafood to sweets, a wide variety of stalls line Kyoto streets with no shortage of choice for your midday snack. Partake in the Japanese custom tabeyaruki, eating while walking. No trip to Kyoto is complete without a visit to one of its most iconic temples. We amble along a narrow lane teeming with life. Locals tempt the passing visitors with matcha-flavored sweets and freshly cooked delicacies. Stores nestled snugly into the buildings offer a wide variety of omiyage. One can even rent a traditional kimono to don while parading through the quaint streets of a bygone era. Finally, we arrive at the top of the hill, where a tall, bright red pagoda awaits us. This is Kiyomizu-dera. This iconic structure was originally conceived by Enshin Shonin, a priest from Nara who in the 8th century received a vision to construct the temple next to the Ottawa Springs. Kiyomizu-dera literally translates to pure water temple. Most of the structures that make up Kiyomizu-dera today were additions provided by the Tokugawa shogunate sometime during the 17th century. After passing through the Niomon, follow the steady line of people to the main hall's famous veranda. From here, you can take in the breathtaking views of the mountain and beyond.
tried to spy the spire of another pagoda rising just above the trees. Aside from its magnificent exterior, one characteristic that makes Kiyomizu-dera stand out is the fact that not a single nail was used during construction. Like most major shrines, visitors to Kiyomizu-dera can purchase omikuji, or fortunes. Those blessed with good luck can simply pocket their fortune for safekeeping, while those less fortunate tie up their omikuji in the hopes of staving off any anguish in the future. The Otowa waterfall is divided into 3 separate streams. Each stream is said to benefit a different area of one's life: longevity, success at school, and a fortunate love life. Here, visitors are able to sip from the streams in hopes of reaping these benefits. However, don't drink from all 3, as greed is frowned upon. Finally, we climb the stone steps to another veranda to take in the most coveted view of Kiyomizu-dera. With the mountains cradling Kyoto peacefully in the background, Kiyomizu-dera stands proudly, as it has for hundreds of years and as it will continue to do.
Thanks for joining us as we visited some of Kyoto's most celebrated locations. However, we've only just begun to scratch the surface of this great city, so join us next time when we add another piece to the world peace puzzle.